Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to episode 31 of Sassy Sun and Belle. My name is Breezy. I will be your host, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about my post Tell Me Lies, thoughts, questions, and predictions. And and we're also going to try to get you men to attempt to better understand women. I know it seems like a lot, but I'm hoping I can answer some of your questions for you. I'm hoping. But let's be honest. Even I'm a woman and I'm still many more confusing as hell. I will say that with a passion. But if you're new here, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Also, please subscribe. And I think we might. It has been a crazy week, y'all. This past week, I literally had a new flu-like variant going around. Never again. Never, never, never again. Please, never again. Terrible. I only get sick once a year, unfortunately, and I'm hoping that was my once a year. Because I can't get sick again. I really don't want to be sick again, and I can't afford to get sick again. But oh my gosh. Anyway, here I figured let's start off the episode with our first TikTok of the day, shall we?
The lead. Arch Manning keeps it himself, and he's got nothing but chattel. Real estate. He popped the clutch. Happy New Year, Longhorns!
Okay, look, I know it's been a month and a half or whatever since football season has officially come to an end. But y'all, I love Arch Manning. I can't help it. That kid's too sweet for his own good. And he's a Manning. And here's the thing. We had to have a football moment. We have to have that football moment. We have to. But here's our next TikTok.
Teach me how to duck it. You know why? Cause all the girls love me. All I need is a bigger super bumper. And for you to back it up and dunk it. Yeah. Put your arms out front. Ain't nobody kidding with my dunk from one side. He go by Bubba and he hit that dunk with 30. Okay, I am from Dallas, but I didn't tell Biggie. I show my moves on the everybody trying to kill me. I live Bronx and all the ladies come to me. Now you just do you, and I'ma do it. Say, do what I hate. Say, try to show me. You know you still kill me. I think they try to blow me. I let the party start, but the niggas started coming. Just give it.
Look, Pluto had it in him. All I'm saying. Pluto had it in him. Alright, now that we got our TikToks out of the way, let's talk Tell Me Lies. It has been a week since Tell Me Lies. I'm still not over it. I wanted Steven in jail. I really did. I wanted Oliver in jail. Or at least someone have some actions. But here are my post Tell Me Lies questions that I have, okay? Here's my first question. How did Lucy and Pippa remain friends during those 6 years? Think about it. She basically watched her so-called friend, get expelled for her. Didn't even think nothing about it. Really, Pippa? You deserve that big screw you. You know that, right? Also, did her mom really not say anything on the way back home? I just find that hard to believe. Like, a normal parent would not have been that silent. Or else did the mom wait until they got home for crying out loud? Also, do Bree and Lucy ever reconnect with each other? I am very curious as to that one. As to that, do Bree, Lucy, and Pippa all stay friends after the wedding? Do it like I don't possibly see them happening while they're in their 20s. Not like that anyway. Also, does Steven really ride off into the sunset? I hate that, by the way. I really do hate that. Okay. Do Oliver and Marianne really get away with their crimes? Do they? Now, and also, does Wrigley find out that Steven was responsible for Macy's death as well? And what happened to Amanda? Also, what happened to after Lucy's expulsion? Like, did the group stay in contact or whatever with each other, or what? They must have because of the wedding. Also, how did Steven get an invite to that wedding? Because it's pretty obvious in season 3 that his friends are over him. They really are. And how did Steven and Lydia start dating? Really, I'm curious. And does Macy's family ever get justice? Also, does Wrigley's family ever get justice? And does the group finally seek therapy? Because Lord knows that group needs therapy. And I'm saying that I need therapy too from watching the show. Well, more therapy. Um, does did Steven not find it weird that somebody died in his room? Also, does Steven ever get a reality check? And does Chris ever get caught? Just curious. Now, I have here are my thoughts and my predictions as to what I personally think happened post TML show. Okay, the first one is Evan and Bree get an annulment. Bree ends up married to Wrigley and lives in New England somewhere, probably someplace like Vermont or Connecticut, something like that. And Bree has her own photography business, while Wrigley is a football coach, high school to be exact. And they have 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. They are are happily ever after living in stability and non-toxicity, and they probably have one of their sons named Drew in honor of his brother. I love I would love that actually. As far as Evan goes, I think he has a place in Manhattan working in finance. Well, maybe not Manhattan, maybe like someplace like Tribeca or something, maybe. Um, but he is dating on and off with nothing serious because Bree did some damage to him. He also cut off all contact with the group and is living his best life. And he still harbors a grudge against Wrigley for taking his woman. Now, as far as Amanda goes, I think she falls pregnant with Oliver's child. I think Marianne tries to make Amanda get an abortion. When that doesn't work, I think they make her place the baby up for adoption. And Amanda contacts Bree years after apologizing for going along with them, and Bree has evolved and forgives her and thanks her for it. Now, Steven, I want nothing but the worst for him. He deserves all the hell he gets. You can't convince me otherwise. Now, Steven only applied to Yale. He did not have a backup plan. He ends up working as a paralegal back in his hometown. He also starts dating a girl who quickly comes to her senses and things for her. He blames Lucy, looks up Lydia on Facebook, then comes up with a plan to get back at Lucy. And they come up with a plan to get back at Lucy. Now, Diana goes to Yale, eventually becomes a judge and a Supreme Court judge for the Supreme Court. Hey, she's a queen. She deserves all the best she can get. And when gay marriage becomes legal, Pippa and her legally marry and adopt a couple of children. Now, their kids, um, now their kids end up being good friends with Bree and Wrigley's kids. Um, Lucy finally lets go of Stephen and becomes a successful writer and podcaster called How to Survive a Narcissist. Lucy ends up meeting a guy, has a child by him. The two get engaged but call it off when they realize it's not working out. They end up in a healthy co-parenting relationship. Stephen DeMarco. Go to hell, Stephen DeMarco. He is going through a divorce and fighting with his wife for full custody of their children. He is not a very attentive father, and he's not a very good husband. He discovers that his wife is listening to Lucy's podcast, tries to turn the table around. And Alex, and for Alex, I think he ends up with being a successful business owner, and he ends up in a stable and loving relationship with a woman they have 2 children, a couple of children together, and he's happy, and he broke generational cycles, and his kids will never have to go through that again. Now, Pippa, I say you become somewhat likable, and you and Lucy tolerate each other for her and Bree when they reconnect in their 30s. Also, Wrigley figures out that Stephen was the one that driving the car that night, and I believe he goes to confront Stephen and leaves him in the dust. He also teams up with Macy's parents to bring justice to their daughter. And Bree's mom ends up off the wagon officially, goes to rehab. She tries to reconnect with her daughter, but Bree rejects her altogether, just sends her over the edge, and she relapses again. Now, we gotta talk about Chris. I know. but we have to. I think Chris ends up getting a girl knocked up. She tells Chris and he convinces his family that the baby is not his. The girl gets a DNA test and it comes back that the baby is his. He ends up in a nasty court battle, gaslighting the girl and thinking he did not rape her. And the girl sues him for child support and the family pays her off as long as she does not come near them again. Now, those are just my predictions. May not be all of them, but who knows? Again, my personal predictions. If you don't like it, you saw the warning at the beginning of the episode. Now, let's talk. Now, let's talk about trying to get some men that somewhat understand women. First of all, guys, you don't gossip the same way girls do. You get the basic answers, and we want the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, the how. Like, we want all the details that you do not think to get. Like, why? Make that make sense for us, really and truly. But if you want to win a girl over, we want the juicy stuff. You gotta remember that. Also, another some also, you're probably wondering why do we give our friends partners names? Well, we gotta differentiate them somehow. You really think we're gonna say, oh, such and such, oh, that's train guy, or that's Mister Who Shall Never Be Named? You don't know which is which, and we keep it that way for good reason. Now, let's answer some questions that guys have about women's health. Why do we have more bruises that we can explain versus that we can't explain? I'll be honest with you, it's a girl thing, and we've just come to accept it. We really have. Um, is it a blood disorder? Maybe, but do we know it? No. Vitamin deficiency? Quite possibly. Um, are we more prone? Maybe. Not gonna lie. Is it a girl thing? Yes, definitely. Is it from hobbies or sports? No, it's just because sometimes they can be, but most times it's just because we're too clumsy. And did the guy cause them? Well, if it's a healthy relationship, no, he did not cause them. But if it's an abusive relationship, he did cause them. And we don't do abusive relationships here. Bye bye. If that offends you, there's the door. Now, um, are they from a previous relationship? It could be. We can. Some of them we can explain. Some of them we can. Also, what does a period feel like? It feels like a knock in the balls. Put it that way. Are the cramps really that bad? That's like saying, do you? That's like saying, can I live? Is being sick really that bad for me? Basically, you men turn into babies when you're sick. You really do. You can't handle a woman on her period. Being a woman on her period, you really can't. Um, what is a normal cycle length? Honestly, 3 to 7 days, but for some of them it takes longer. It just depends. Um, why do we get upset when we don't have one? Well, for when we don't have one, that can mean dangerous things, and we don't want dangerous things to happen now, do we? Um, now let's answer some questions the guys have about women. Why do we do something after we ask you to do it? Well, if you would do it the first time around instead of waiting around to do it, we wouldn't have to ask you. Also, why do we get annoyed at you when we say we're fine? Because when we say we're fine, it depends on our tone. You don't pick up on those tones, and that drives us crazy. And we want you to be able to ask us without us having to physically say, oh, honey, without you having to physically. We want you to pick up on subtle hints. And some of y'all don't do that. Why don't we go to the bathroom in groups together? Um, for safety, truly. What is the biggest physical turn on? Honestly, a guy who is intentionally dating you. What is the big? What is the big? Oh, that's personality, but physical. Okay, for me, it's abs. I'm not gonna lie. Alright, do you for flowers or a thoughtful gift? I personally prefer a thoughtful gift because it shows you've been paying attention to what I like. What is the best way for a guy to ask you out? Just be yourself. Do you prefer to pay, split, or be treated? It depends on the situation. What is your opinion on guys? Okay, on this next one is what is your opinion on guys who are shorter than you? I like a tall king. I'm not gonna lie. I'm short. So I like me a tall king. I really do. What is the friend zone to you? Basically when you treat us like a friend, like one of your bros. Um, is it a turn off if a guy is too nice? God no. A nice guy in today's world, amazing. What is your biggest dating deal breaker? Don't know if it's a deal breaker, but it's more like an ick for me that when they start using pet names, and I hate pet names with a passion. Do you believe in love at first sight? Evan Buckley, Eddie Diaz. Don't judge me. Um, do you for cuddling or watching a movie? Ooh, cuddling. How do you feel about pet names? Hate them with a passion. What makes you feel the most love um, when you remember the little things? Honestly, for us, it's like for girls, we want you to remember the little things about us. We really do. How do you communicate when you're upset? It just depends. Honestly, every girl is different. Um, okay, another question. Why do you always say nothing when I ask what's wrong? Because we don't want to talk about it, but we want to talk about it. It's confusing. I told you at the beginning of this video, girls are confusing, and I'm a girl, and I'm saying that. Why do we have a full closet but nothing to wear? Honestly, we have most girls, we have like a full closet of nice stuff, but we only have like a few items that we like to wear. Also, why do you actually like being told that you're pretty, or do you prefer compliments on the brain? On the brain, obviously. You compliment me on how pretty I am, I'm gonna look at you like something's wrong with you. Um. Okay. Let's see. What else? Um. How long does you actually take to get ready? For me, 5 to 10 minutes. I'm not fancy. I'm not gonna go through that time. Do you care for guys and nerd things? I love it. I find it hot actually. Do you actually enjoy dressing up? No, not with. I don't personally, but most girls like. Some girls do, some don't. Some of us just like to be comfortable. Um, do you think men and women can just be friends? Yes. Why do we fall asleep on true crime, dogs, but not horror movies? Honestly, we like it. We really do. It's confusing and it's subtle. Alright, dating tips. No pet names. We pay attention to everything. Hmm. Our time is valuable. Um, and from one of my friend Lucy's, love your wife like Christ loves the church. Look, we want you to love us, but we also want you to treat us right at the same time. But that is it for this episode. Join me next time as we talk about who knows what.